Okay, here are some books slash authors slash series that I wish I could just have already read, whether because they are a big time commitment or intimidating, or I just want to be able to have an opinion, take part in discussion without necessarily spending the time reading the book. Different reasons for different ones of these, but if you've ever had that feeling of, I wish I could just have already read this one without having to read it, then you'll know what I'm getting at. The first one, The Silmarillion by Tolkien. I did get the audiobook narrated by Andy Serkis. I think I got it while it was on sale on Audible. And if you're going to read The Silmarillion, I think that is the way to go. I have not tried the method where you listen to an audiobook while reading the physical book at the same time. I have heard that that really helps with immersion. It might be the right way to take in this one. I don't think I've ever gotten more than like a third of the way in. This is one that I want to read all the way through. I want to know everything in here. I am a huge Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit fan, and this is part of it, and so I want to know it. I think I just need to keep taking it in little bit by little bit. I was listening to it when I would drive to my yoga classes, and then I started listening to music, and then sometimes I just drive silently, just enjoying the quiet on my drive. I feel a little bad for having this one at the top, but that's probably the main one. After that, the rest of the Dune series. I have read Dune. I have read Dune Messiah. I have not yet gotten to Children of Dune. This might be the farthest I ever go. I've read little synopses about the rest of the series. It seems like it gets really weird, and it gets so far past the original characters. It almost feels like Doctor Who. You watch the episodes with the Doctor and the companion that you like, and then when a new Doctor or a new companion comes along, you're like, this isn't the same anymore. It's not the story I started for. I don't really feel like continuing. And that's kind of how I feel with the Dune books. I like Paul, I like Jessica, I like Chani, and at some point, those characters I started with are not the characters we continue with. And in some small way, I would just like to have already read them. At some point, I'll read Children of Dune, probably before another Dune movie comes out, but I don't think I'll read past this one. These are in no particular order, by the way, except for that first one. Next, The Priory of the Orange Tree. Everything I hear about this book makes it seem like one I would enjoy. It is a big epic fantasy with dragons. The art looks cool. I was this close to buying it at the bookstore the other day. This close. I picked it up. I felt it. I flipped the pages a little bit. The main thing that stopped me from getting that book was that they only had the paperback, and that is a hefty book. It is ginormous. It's probably about the size of Rhythm of War, and that big of a book I just think should be hardcover. It will be heavier, but it will also not break when I read it. But that one is so long. I have so much on my TBR right now. I have so many books to read. Adding one of that size felt a little overwhelming. I feel like it's one I'll eventually get to, just not right now. It's still on my wish list. This one, again, I feel a little bad about it. I shouldn't, but I'm going to say anything by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've been saying that for a while. I did pick up a Wizard of Earthsea when we were on vacation in Arizona over New Year's, and I have not started it yet. I also want to read some of her science fiction. I have heard great things about The Left Hand of Darkness and a couple of others. And since I'm on the subject of science fiction, some books that I wish I could have just already read, just downloaded into my brain without having to actually read them, is some of the old classic sci-fi, like 1984. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The War of the Worlds. Fahrenheit 451. Should I have a fourth finger up? Androids 84, War of the Worlds, Fahrenheit. Those are all things that I do want to read. Sometimes old science fiction is a little clunky in its storytelling style, but usually it's also not about the science. It's more about like the human condition. Looking forward to a better time in the future or looking towards what a worse time in the future could be. Basically, what will humans become in the future? What will our lives be like? What will we care about? And that old science fiction is either very utopian or very dystopian, or like the Time Machine where you think it's utopian and then it actually turns out not to be. I have read that one. And I like how some of those old sci-fi authors would just spend some time philosophizing, can't say it, about the future. Thinking about the future, writing stories about it. I do like that. I just tend to like my reading experience to be more in the fantasy realm. Those science fiction books are ones I might be more likely to read in the winter. I just put up my April wrap-up and May TBR, and I was saying how the time of year changes what I feel like reading. I'm not going to feel like reading any of those sci-fi books in the nice weather. They seem like snuggle up on the couch and watch the rain outside kind of books. If only I could have already read them. Pride and Prejudice. Why have I not read this? People who know me are so surprised to find that I have never actually read it. I have read other Jane Austen. I read Sense and Sensibility. I love every iteration of Pride and Prejudice I've ever seen on film. It is a book that I should have already read. Why haven't I? I don't even know. I think I just need to find myself a really pretty copy of it, and that will inspire me to read it. They talk about it a lot on the Writing Excuses podcast, part of pop culture. I know the story. I've seen it lots of times. But I would like to read it in Austen's own words sometime in the future. And the last one I have on my shelf, so I have no excuses. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I should be able to say that I have already read this because I have started it twice. The second time I got farther than the first time, and I don't even know why I stopped because I liked it. I was enjoying this book. I like the premise. I like that it's like a real world England, and one of them is like a theoretical magician. Magic is theoretical. You can't actually do magic. You can study magic, but you don't cast magic spells, and then suddenly there's this magician who can do magic. I think my brother bought this for me. Yes, the same brother you've heard me talk about who gives me other books. A long time ago. I've had this for at least 10 years. What's my excuse? I don't know. I can tell you I have read half of it. I still don't know how it ends. Oh man. It's starting to get that aged book feel. The pages are a little bit yellowed. There's a bend here in the cover from me. It looks like an already read book. I'm gonna need to turn it into an already read book. Anyway, I think that was 10. I don't think I lied in the title of this. Tell me if you share any of those wish you had read already books, or what are the ones on your list that you just never seem to get to. Let me know. I hope you get to them soon. Bye.